is one of the funniest controversies ever, but we saw it last night on who should get the game ball with the Milwaukee Bucks and the Indiana Pacers. Who was in the right? Who was in the wrong here? Who should get the game ball?
Who cares? Like, really? Really? Like, it's like the NBA is a 24-hour, 365-day soap opera.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot. Like, here's the thing. So last night, I was working the Pelicans versus Washington Wizards game. So I did get an opportunity to see it last night. Today, during my SiriusXM show, it was on in my hotel room. So I got a chance to watch it. If you didn't know, and optics matter, right? And you see everything that transpired, you would have assumed that, like, all hell broke loose.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh, what just happened? Like, the game is over, and guys are in each other's faces, and Giannis takes off running to the back. Like, oh, my gosh, what's going on? Are they beating up the Thanasis? Like, what is the deal here? And then you realize all this is transpiring because of who got the game ball. So it was like, okay, that happened. Back to Draymond Green.
Yeah. but that's the NBA now. It's like the regular season this year, we've probably talked about 5 things. And I get it. On our show, there's a lot of NFL. There's a lot of college football this time of the year. But when we talk about the NBA now, it's like, what does Draymond do that's stupid? All right, Giannis is now fighting over a game ball. The Spurs with Victor Wembanyama have lost 18 in a row. And then, oh, yeah, the Lakers are going to hang a banner for winning this in-season tournament championship. Those are the things that we're talking about when it comes to the NBA on a national show. It's a joke.
I hear you. I'm trust me, brother. I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. It's not a whole lot. Like, think about it. Over the last 2 days.
It's the Real Housewives of the NBA. That's what it's turned into.
That's true. That's true. And over the last 2 days, SiriusXM NBA radio has turned into Draymond Green radio.
Yeah.
Over the last 2 days. And that's the only, not the only story. Obviously, you don't want to sit here and just talk about games and, to watch Victor Wembanyama and Anthony Davis go at it last night. That was pretty cool. That was pretty awesome. Watch some of these younger teams that are really surprising. Watch Minnesota tie for the best record in the league. Watching Oklahoma City continue to climb the ladder. Watching the biggest or second biggest surprise in the league to me in Orlando and the job that Jamal Mosley's doing down there. Like, those are some of the things that we should kind of focus on more. But as we know, in the culture that we live in, a lot of times it's the negativity that gets the headlines.
Antonio Daniels here with us. All right, talking about that negativity. We all saw what happened with Draymond Green and Nurkic. Now we know the league has suspended him indefinitely. What's been your reaction to the last few days?
I struggle with indefinitely. That's the word I struggle with, because we don't know what that means. I wonder, and I ask the question, Zach, why is it that the NBA has come up with a number for everyone else, but in this particular case, it's not about the number. It's more about, okay, well, let's get Draymond Green back right, which should have been a priority forever ago, though. That's the thing. The fact that getting Draymond Green back right has become the issue now after everything that we've seen. You think about last year punching Jordan Poole, stepping on Domas Sabonis, and just recently choking Rudy Gobert. All these other kind of things where it's like the writing's been on the wall. So why is it that now it's like, oh, okay, maybe this is something we need to get under control, when I feel like many people, and us in the media as well, are at fault for where Draymond Green is right now.
And Antonio, I thought I was on an island because I had so many takes over the summer. I thought the juice wasn't worth the squeeze anymore with Draymond Green, and I thought they should have moved on from him. But I didn't expect the Warriors to do that because they've enabled all this throughout the years.
Correct.
And they just rewarded him a brand new contract. Like, think about it. You could punch a player in the face, your own teammate, and then they get rid of that guy after the season, and they keep you and they pay you $100 million. And the greatest irony of this all is Steve Kerr knows what it's like to get punched in the face by a teammate.
But Steve Kerr doesn't know what it's like to get punched in the face by a teammate and for it to go viral.
Fair.
That's the thing. So, and think of all of these different incidents that we just referenced, right? So we can think of the 4 incidents that we just referenced. So let's go all the way back to training camp of 2 years ago, where he punched Jordan Poole, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So then after that, you have the Domas Sabonis incident in the playoffs.
Yep.
And then after that, you have choking out of Rudy Gobert. And then you obviously have what just transpired with Jusuf Nurkic. Prior to this one, out of all of the things that's happened, he's never been suspended for more than 5 games. And to put some context behind this, Kyrie Irving, for sending out his anti-Semitic tweets, was suspended for 8 games. Ja Morant, for doing what he did, was suspended for 25 games. But everything that Draymond Green has done, even they talk about being a repeat offender and so on and so forth, he's never been suspended for more than 5 games. So the question that I ask is, maybe if the punishment was a little more harsh, then maybe we're not having these issues and these conversations today.
Yeah, and I call the commissioner of the league spineless silver because I think he lets the players get away with too much. And the Warriors, it's almost as if they've been afraid to punish Draymond Green as well, and they've just left that on the league.
When you're winning, it's okay, Zach.
Yeah, when you're winning, it's fine. Everyone ignores it. Like look back at the finals with everything that was happening in that playoff run, and people are like, oh, is Draymond really worth it anymore? And they win a championship, and it's like, It doesn't matter if we think it's worth it or not.
So I'll tell you what I found out throughout the course of my career is if your talent outweighs your baggage, your team will rock with you.
Yeah.
A team will rock with you if your talent outweighs your baggage. The moment that your baggage starts to outweigh your impact, now teams and organizations are having different conversations about you. And you see it quite often. You see it quite often through the course of history. Teams will deal with a lot when you're averaging 30 points a game. Teams will deal with a lot when you're winning championships and taking them to the NBA Finals. But when that 30 points per game is now 14 points per game, now they feel like they can replace you with someone else that can do the same things you're doing as far as impact is concerned without the baggage.
But it's tough for me to believe that they think that when you just gave them $100 million this offseason.
But then the thing is, you don't know what Draymond Green is coming to this season. Like, let's be honest. Did you think coming into this season, a quarter of the way through, that Draymond Green would have been suspended twice already and he would look like he's on the last leg of his career? Did you think that coming into this season that Klay Thompson and Andrew Wiggins, after the way that Andrew Wiggins played a couple of years ago, would be this bad this early in the season?
What I thought going into this year was Draymond, the juice wasn't worth the squeeze. I wasn't a believer in him anymore. And with Klay, there's been, even though last year, right, the numbers look good, there were too many inconsistencies where I thought his better days were behind him. Like, this isn't shocking to me. And that's the thing with the Warriors. They keep on rewarding people for what they've done in the past. It's not, how do we move this forward and still find a way to get Steph another championship and build a better team around him?
But see, I feel like if that was the thought, that thought would have taken place years ago when you had James Wiseman and you had Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody. It was amazing to me watching the way that the Golden State Warriors have moved, because you had lottery picks and you were playing guys like Anthony Lamb, who's not in the NBA anymore, Ty Jerome, who's not a role player anymore, playing ahead of Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, and guys like James Wiseman. That was always different for me. I tell you what I think one of the most difficult things has to be. Anytime you lose a player with ERA after his name, it's an issue. Watching a dynasty come apart is never pretty. It's never pretty. Like, what dynasty have you known that actually fell apart? And it's like, oh my gosh, this is a beauty. Think about it. The San Antonio Spurs for 20 straight seasons did their thing.
Yeah.
Right now,
they can't win a game.
They're sitting on 18 losses in a row.
Look at the Patriots right now, too.
Exactly. Bill Belichick was the best coach in the league when Tom Brady was there. Then Tom Brady left, and now he's on his way out. So we see it all the time. When you have dynasties and those dynasties have to come apart, it's never a pretty sight. And what we're seeing right now, what I feel like this Draymond Green situation has done, Zach, is it's expedited some conversations. So now it's brought some things to the forefront that maybe if Draymond Green doesn't do the things that he's done, maybe we don't have to discuss. Will Klay Thompson be a Golden State Warrior moving forward? What are they going to do with Andrew Wiggins? Because this is Steve Kerr's last year under contract. This is Chris Paul's last year under contract. This is Klay Thompson's last year under contract. But now what Draymond Green has forced us to do is have some uncomfortable conversations about this dynasty moving forward, in my opinion.
So let me ask you this. You are Steph Curry. How do you handle this? What do you say to management? What do you say to Draymond Green right now?
I have a hard time believing that Steph Curry hasn't already had these conversations. These guys have gone through wars together. These guys have gone through hell together. I don't know what else I can say. My thing is, I want Steph Curry to ride this out. I want him to ride this out. I don't want him to be like everyone else. And the moment that things start heading south, you know what? Get me out of here. Trade me somewhere else. But here's the thing. You just spoke to it, Zach. You reward Draymond Green with a 4-year, $100 million contract. You trade him. That means somebody has to take that contract on. And the question that you ask, like you said, is the juice worth the squeeze at this particular time in his career? If this is 8 years ago, yes.
Absolutely.
But today, in 2023, a 33-year-old Draymond Green that struggles to shoot the ball from the outside and was drafted into a perfect situation for his skill set. Is he having this same impact on any other team in this league is the question.
And you're talking about Draymond?
Yes.
And the answer is no. Like if Draymond's not on the Warriors, he's he's going to be a Hall of Famer, have his number retired, but he would be playing himself out of the league right now if he was on any other team.
So how do you move him? So if Steph Curry says,
the unfortunate answer is you got to attach some picks with him, and then that derails your future as well if you have a bad season.
Correct.
There's no win here.
Right. So what is the plan now moving forward for Golden State? Because like Steve Kerr said, if they still view themselves as a championship team, which I'm sure they do because they still got Steph Curry, any way you look at it. But in the words of Steve Kerr, if we don't have Draymond Green, we're not a championship team.
Yeah,
that's why they go out and they sign him for $100 million. I felt like the first domino to drop with the Golden State Warriors starting to splinter and come apart at the seams was Bob Myers leaving.
Yeah.
I felt like that was the first domino to drop. And now you're starting to see a couple other dominoes fall.
It's almost like they're afraid to know what life is without Draymond Green. And when Bob Myers leaves, I thought a big reason why he left was he knew down deep the tough decisions he was going to make, and he didn't want to ruin the relationships with people that he won and has won championships with.
Okay, Zach, let's keep it 100. Do you think that Bill Belichick wanted to know what life was like without Tom Brady?
You know what? That one was weird. I actually do, because their egos got in such a way with Brady and Belichick that they both thought they could win on their own.
Do you think Gregg Poopovich wanted to know what life was like without Tim Duncan?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. You can go down the list of different guys. Do you think that Phil Jackson wanted to know what life was like without Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, and Dennis Rodman?
No.
Not a chance.
No way.
Not a chance. So I can understand Steve Kerr trying to ride this thing out. And Steve Kerr, to me, is the band on the Titanic. Like, he's going to play until this thing goes down. He's going to look, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to play. But when this ship goes down, I'm going down with it. He is doing everything within his power to try and keep this dynasty alive, which I completely understand because this is what he knows.
Wrapping up with Antonio Daniels, what do you make about the conversation regarding Zion Williamson and the shape that he's in right now?
I feel like it's low-hanging fruit. When he plays bad, that's always the discussion. When he plays bad. And it takes a nationally televised game against the Los Angeles Lakers where the lights were obviously too bright for the New Orleans Pelicans on that particular night. You know who it wasn't too bright for? LeBron James, right? He's been to the finals 10 times. He understood the assignment. And what I was told is in Las Vegas, it mirrored a Western Conference Finals, NBA Finals setup for the in-season tournament with the media, with just the way that things were going. I just, for me, if you have an issue with the guy, I get it. There's a way to go about it. And some of the things that are being said about this young man, because I know this young man personally, talk to him quite often, are insensitive and borderline bully. And I do have a problem with that.
So who is the true Zion Williamson? The guy that you know, who is the true Zion?
He is a great kid. He is a great kid. And here's the thing, though. Did I have it all figured out at 23? I didn't.
No, neither did I.
I'm not going to lie to you. Like, listen, I went through 4 years of college at Bowling Green State University and came to the NBA, and I did not have it all figured out. I didn't. We have to understand when guys are one and done what we're asking. Everybody's not coming into this league like LeBron. I don't care. Guys may be ready physically to dominate, but it's more than just physical. There's a mental aspect to this. There's an emotional aspect to this. There is a social media element aspect to this that we don't take into consideration. And what we assume as a culture, that if a guy is compensated financially and he is popular or famous or a celebrity, that he should be able to take whatever is said to him. And that's not the case. These guys, regardless as to the amount of money they make, are still humans with feelings. If you want to criticize a guy with constructive criticism, I get it. I get it, because that's building a young man up. But to continually tear him down and tear him down and tear him down and speak to him like he's not inhuman or that he doesn't have feelings, for me, I just don't grasp the concept of it.
I only got a minute left. Last thing I'll ask you, Antonio Daniels. If someone says to you it's 18-game losing streak for the Spurs, Victor Wembanyama is supposed to be this generational player, maybe it's time to move on from your former coach and Gregg Popovich, what do you say to that fan that says that?
I feel like Gregg Pop has earned the right to leave when he wants to leave. I feel like he's earned that right. You know, when you are in San Antonio and you win bring 5 championships to a small market, had this team championship relevant for 20 plus seasons, I feel like you have earned the right to a few bad seasons. You've earned that right. And when he finally decides to say, you know what, this is it for me, then you know, he'll go down as one of the greatest, if not the greatest coach in NBA history. But just because he's struggling right now, because his team lacks experience, they lack age, they lack overall talent in comparison to the rest of the NBA, I feel like the easy thing is to say, let's move on from him. So the question I would ask is, you're moving on from Gregg Popovich, arguably the greatest coach of all time, to whom?
And most people don't have that answer. That's a tough part, to replace Pop. Good luck. It's tough to do.